Ray had landed or come to Holland after they had landed in Normandy. Ray was part of the troops that went to Normandy, from England to Normandy. He was trained. Most of his training he got actually in England, because he joined the army already when he was below age. He was 17 years old. 17 years old. So, and he was trained there and then fought the battle of, that later on became known as V-Day, Victory Day, and he fought a battle there. And actually, well, he says, don't call it bravery. I just had to. It was like any regular job. I had a good connection to talk to him and say, Ray, I have a surprise for you. So I went to the Dutch club here in Victoria, but he had no clue. And you can fake people easily. They won't look at the number. Especially not when somebody announces, here is Ray for you. So I asked somebody, can you tell him that I will come to the phone? So he didn't look anymore because the number had faded away already. So Ray, I surprised the heck out of him. He started to cry. And I said, yeah, next week I will pick you up. And he thought I was in Holland. I had been in Holland a few months before to prepare the whole thing and get a film crew and everything. And I ended up with the best film crew you could have. RTL is a very, very important, very big television station, channel in Holland. So, and they were willing to go around. And we did it twice. We did it twice in a Jeep. So in the original wartime Jeep. And the Canadians did a heck of a part, especially in Holland. And what the reason is why other people, the Dutch remember so much, is because we really liked and loved them for what they did and never forgot.
Funding for the production of the following program has been provided by the Arnhem War Museum, 40 to 45, Atlas Stereo and TV, Cronin Construction Limited, the Dutch Bakery and Coffee Shop, Eddie's Electric, Commercial and Residential, Eurosa Gardens Limited, First Island Financial Services Limited, Holland Specialty Deli, Old Dutch Inn by the Sea, Quality Tool Crib, Royal Oak Dairy Limited, Alan Talsma Agencies Limited, the Vancouver Island Netherlands Association, Victoria Trust Limited, and Vella Horticulture Limited. We'd like to thank those businesses and organizations who have helped to make this special program possible.
On May 10th, 1940, Nazi Germany brutally ignored the neutrality of the Netherlands and invaded the country. For 5 years, the hated swastika cast a shadow over the Dutch tricolor. The Allied thrust toward Arnhem in September 1944 was a daring attempt to terminate the Second World War in Europe and restore freedom. The bridge in Arnhem proved to be a bridge too far. It was not until May 1945 that the liberation finally took place. World War II had many different faces and left many painful memories. From all the records of this war, The observations of the individuals who took part stand out as reminders of the true nature of the conflict, the idiocy and the tension, the dying of young men, the destruction of homes and cities, the starvation, the exhaustion, the disease, the parentless and lost innocent children, the concentration camps of shivering, starving, tortured prisoners, the endless lines of refugees plodding along, the never-ceasing pounding of the guns. The cemeteries in the Netherlands and the war memorials in Canada are an enduring record of the losses suffered by communities everywhere as Canadians stepped forward to fight for what they believed was right. For the past 50 years, the younger generations have been told of the atrocities of war as experienced by people who lived through them. Now, 50 years later, we commemorate and celebrate the end of those horrifying years. In the month of May, thousands of Canadian war veterans flew to the Netherlands to renew their impressions, to visit the graves of their mates, and to rekindle old friendships. It was, for most of them, like bidding a last farewell to a period of history that fostered a special relationship between the Netherlands and Canada. One of those veterans is Ray de Montagny from Victoria. He was a corporal in the Medical Corps with the 2nd Division of the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders. Ray's 50th anniversary of reliving wartime memories already started in October 1994, when he attended a commemorative tulip tribute celebration at Holland House, the club home of the Vancouver Island Netherlands Association. Here, he met René Wassink, the Director of Public Relations.
Yeah. And I thought I was looking forward to seeing you.
Great.
Yeah.
He told me all kinds of stories already about you being in Holland and
Yes.
in Vught, close to the Bosch. I know where it is.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
And he told me you have all kinds of pictures.
Well, I have. I brought some here, thinking maybe I could show them to you.
Years ago.
Yeah, like this girl here was an old lady friend of mine. She was just what you would call a wartime sweetheart. You know, You're just like a memory book turned back. You know.
Gosh,
Not long after René had left for the Netherlands, he got in touch with me and told me that he had made arrangement with a very famous television show in Holland that was interested in my story and wanted to use these as part of a special liberation show. But just a week before the audition was going to take place and my wishful dreaming had almost bridged the ocean, I got a second phone call, this time to tell me that for some reason my piece of the action had been removed from the script. So the all-expense-paid trip to the Netherlands had fallen through and my budding television career was nipped in the bud. In March of this year, I got a call to come to the Holland House on Van Almen Road. And I was entertained by the people here in the lounge. They treated us royally, my wife and I. And shortly after we were here and being entertained, we got a phone call.
Hello? Who's this? Mr. Wassink? Oh, you're calling from Holland. You want to speak to Ray? Oh yeah, he's here. Yeah, just a minute. Let's speak to Ray. Hey guys, I got René Wassink on the phone. Give him a big... Hey, I got these for you.
Oh, René, how are you? My goodness, I'm surprised to hear you. Oh, you've got to be kidding. Oh, thank you very, very much. I'm so surprised. Thank you very, very much, René. Well, you certainly have done a lot of work for me. How can I ever repay you?
Hey, buddy. Hey, we did it. Hey,
Thank
go
you
to
very
Holland.
much. Well, I couldn't go to a nicer place.
Hey guys, René is going to Holland.
Can we can I go to a nicer place?
No, you can't.
Oh, you guys are going to bed after.
From then on, anything and everything happened in a matter of days. A Dutch countrywide fundraiser, which was organized by René, brought in the money that was needed to cover the cost of my stay and adventures in the Netherlands. And adventures they were, in every sense of the word.
Finally back after 50 years, and it's beautiful. Everything in Holland is just gorgeous. I couldn't believe it when I came down on the plane to see what the country looked like. Because when I left here, everything was destroyed. And there was very little food, and there was no clothing for the people. And when I came back this time, I just saw what a great place they've done, and what a great thing they've done with it.
2 days after I'd landed in Amsterdam, I had just visited the new memorial at the famous bridge across the River Rhine in Arnhem. And on behalf of the city of Victoria, had also raised a Canadian wartime flag in front of the Arnhem War Museum 4045.
It gives me pride in presenting this flag. Thank you for sponsoring me to this great occasion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Suddenly, an authentic Canadian war jeep drove up with the maple leaf flying, and I was asked if I were interested in having a ride. I couldn't believe my eyes. The owner of the Arnhem War Museum was one of the passengers and was wearing an original Medical Corps jacket and beret.
And he fought with the Canadian Army in the Medical Corps, and he told me that in Normandy, I said, how the heck did you survive? He says, well, I went back 3 or 4 times to pick up wounded people from the boat, floating around, anybody I could see and help. So, and many of them, he says, I did not recognize them all of them immediately, but later on when we visited the cemetery in Nijmegen, and which was shot and filmed in the documentary, almost every second, third grave, he says, oh no, oh my God, not you. So he recognized many of them who were with him in the same battalion.
The first place we stopped at was the Canadian War Cemetery in Groesbeck, near Nijmegen.
The Dutch children come here every day and clean the cemetery and replace with new flowers. And that is the reason this cemetery is in such great condition. The children of Holland remember our dead, where a lot of our children have never even heard that there is such a place as this cemetery. So I hope that the spirit keeps up. We don't lose it. This is a sad place. It really breaks most people that come here. And I think those people that are going to be here for the ceremonies with the Prime Minister next week are certainly going to know why it's here. Peace is very important at this moment. There's wars going on at different spots of the world, and they've got to stop. And this should be enough to deter any more killings around the world. All these people are 17, 18, 19, 20. I looked the other day at one of the graves, and it was a 44-year-old man. He was an old man, you know? And so it's very hard for me to speak, because having been in the medical corps, I had to handle a lot of these people here, and I know some of them personally, and I don't think that anybody wants to feel the way I feel at this very, very moment. It's very hard indeed. So I'd like to walk around and take a look at some of these if possible, and you could just see for yourself the ages of these people, you know. I know that it's hard to imagine that people that are 17, 18, 19 are dead. They've given so much of their future so that all of us could have a future. So I'd like to pay my respects if possible. South Saskatchewan Regiment, 13th January 1945, age 22. J. Kutcher, Canadian Scottish Regiment, 20th February 1945, age 22. C. Nader, Canadian Scottish Regiment, 18th February 45, age 21. You know, if you come here and you don't shed a tear, you're not alive. You have never lived. Sorry. A little rough. We were all babies, really, you know, when you come to think of it. And we were doing men's work. We just got finished, and these fellows drew the short end of the stick. Those of us that were more fortunate lived through it and were able to carry on. And it's to educate the young, as I said before, to realize that what a great place they've got, and to do what the Dutch children are doing, that they're looking after their war dead cemetery, and they pay respect, and it's a great learning experience, you know. Oh, there's not a heck of a lot you can say about, I hope it never happens again. I hope it never happens again. Not in Holland or any other place, really. But as far as my feelings, I think I feel pretty sad. I don't think I can describe it any better than just sad. I look at this and I just, what a waste of good people. I didn't look at every grave, but I don't think I could do it. But I've already found a couple of the fellows that were in my regiment, and that's shaking when you find them. You say, my goodness, I knew they died, but I didn't think they were here, you know? So anyway, it is a learning experience. And I hope that other people will decide to come over and see what it feels like to visit their relatives or friends or acquaintances, or even just stand here and watch other people and see what it does for them. Oh dear. I can't give you much more sadness than I've got right now.
While Ray is paying tribute to his war mates, we'll pay respect to him by complying with his wish and ask you to listen to the reading of his most favorite war poem. It was originally written by poet and resistance fighter Jan Compert and has been translated by René Wassink. Jan Compert and 17 of his comrades were imprisoned by the Germans. On the eve of the executions, he scribbled this poem, partly on paper and partly on the interior walls of his cell. It is called De 18 Doden, or The 18 Deaths.
This cell is only 8 feet long and wide, 6 feet or so, but smaller is the piece of ground, a place I do not know, where I will rest without a name, I and my friends forlorn. The jerry scarred 18 of us, not one will see the morn. O loveliness of land and sky of Holland's coast so dear, when occupied by the enemy, I found neither rest nor fear. What can a man tried and true do in such a sorry plight? He kisses wife, he kisses child, and fights the noble fight. As sure as the piper of Berlin goes on piping his melody, I'll be dead at morning's end, and my darling I'll no more see, nor will I ever break the bread or be with her again. Just reject his rotten promises, let his piping be in vain. Remember, when reading these words, also my dear comrades in distress, and all those so close to them in their deep sorrow, no less, like they thought of queen and land and fought in their very own way. There comes a day after each night, and dark clouds will break away. I see a ray of morning light fall through the window, pale. Oh God, make dying for me light. And although I did often fail, like everyone can fail sometimes, still reach me thy blessing hand, so I can feel proud like a man, and before those guns I stand. He was emotionally very attached to whatever we showed to him and talked about. And he said also, every time he used the word unbelievable, absolutely incredible, how the Dutch rebuilt the country after it had been destroyed so much.
And the Jeep kept rolling, taking me through the beautiful Dutch countryside to places where battles were fought, lives were lost, and friendship stayed alive. We even ended up tracing the whereabouts of a former field hospital I helped establish in 1944. What a miracle to find the remainders of this hospital still more or less untouched and not totally decayed after 50 years. It proved to me that my Dutch friend had done the right digging job.
We used to have a little hospital here. There was just a few tents and a few little things that we had. And, from here, they would be transported out to a bigger hospital, you know, like Nijmegen or places like that. And, but now, I look at it, and the trees are twice the size they used to be. And that sort of thing, that's what's throwing me here, you know. Because we used to use these to draw blood, you know, for blood tests. And these were morphine. Yeah, morphine. And there was some, oh, you got some old buttons here.
Yeah.
Old uniform buttons. Yeah. This is one that we used to give, you know, our shots with, you know. And this one here is a lot longer, you can tell. Yeah. That's the one we used to use in the lab to draw blood for the lab tests and blood tests.
En Nescafé?
And
yeah.
some coffee?
Yes, there you go. There's we used to get little envelopes of Nescafe, and that's from a bandage, believe it or not. It's kind of hard to just pinpoint by memory exactly where I was at. From where we buried stuff, medical supplies that were no good anymore, so we, instead of burning them, we threw them in the ground. And I found a needle, and it went into my finger. I don't think I'll die, but you know, after 50 years, you get a little prick from an old hypodermic needle that just kind of makes you wonder.
While we were driving further south, the driver pointed in the direction of a road sign with the name Vught on it. This was the town where I'd spent some precious time with my wartime sweetheart, Corrie Bolsius. When I mentioned her name, Renee told me that she was not feeling too well, but that a surprise visit had been planned for later. And a few weeks later, he kept his promise. And what an unforgettable day it was. In the meantime, the Jeep turned around a corner that looked a bit familiar and stopped.
I'm supposed to get out. Yes, he's waiting on me. Oh my goodness. Oh. No? Yeah.
No! No!
Yeah.
Hello, Ray! How are you? That's long time ago. Come in.
Okay.
Oh, Ray.
Yeah, it's been a long, long
That's
time.
long a time ago.
We were young.
We were young.
Really young.
Yes, come in.
I couldn't believe.
You know this
I
house?
couldn't.
What a surprise!
Marvelous.
Oh,
I'm so happy to see you.
You know me.
Yeah. You
still-
know, I try to find a few people, you know, but the Van Goghs were the people that I wanted to meet in Vught, you know.
Yes.
And I said, well, I don't know if I should even try.
Yes.
And so Mr. Wassink was coming.
Was coming.
And he said, give me that book. I'll see if I can find her.
Yes.
It's like that little prayer book. Your grandfather wrote that and gave it to me.
My grandfather.
Yeah.
I didn't know my grandfather.
Well,
Must
maybe
be.
might have been your father then.
Then my.
Must have been your father.
Then.
Yes.
Yeah, was my father.
Yes. Well, that's your
That you
father.
did.
And he did that beautiful print writing in it. You know.
Yeah. Oh, 4 Mei 45.
I was happy as heck to have it. And you know, I've been a collector of old things. I collect little things that don't mean anything to anybody, shouldn't mean anything to me either. And I put it all in a bag and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
So 40 years later, instead of throwing them out, you start looking through them and say, oh my goodness, look at that. It's old and
Yeah. It is ongelooflijk.
your English is very good.
Yes, still.
Yes, still. You've done well.
Thank you.
You've done well.
That's a big surprise, Ray.
It is.
I saw you in the Jeep. I said to my husband, no, it can't be true. But it's true. It's really true.
Well, 50 years true.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Joe.
You know, when I had that medical room at the school,
Yes.
we used to have dances. Remember, we used to go to the dances there.
Yes.
There was all kinds of the young people that used to go to the dances. And I said to them this morning, I said, I still remember this girl and this girl. I danced with them, you know? There's nothing.
And the gentleman here, Wassink, he says to me, no, Ray doesn't come. He has no money
Well,
to come to Holland.
yeah.
But in my heart, I thought, I hope he comes.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a secret behind that. Yeah, he arranged all my fares and everything, and I came.
Yes.
It was a big surprise to me.
Yes, of course.
But
But now it's a big surprise for me.
No, that's a big surprise for both of us.
Yeah, for both of us, yeah. Oh.
It's enough to knock you right off your legs.
How long?
Yes, indeed, it is a surprise, you know. But they've been doing something like that all week, those two, you know. They've been doing some surprises at all corners of the Netherlands.
Did she change?
Oh, she? Yeah, a little bit, but not much. Her face is still the same.
My face is the same.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
But your face also.
Yeah, no, my face is getting old.
Yeah, me also.
No.
Yeah.
You're
How old
young.
are you?
I'm 71, going on 72.
70. No, I 70.
Are you?
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with this little prayer book. I'm going to donate it to the War Museum.
Yeah, in the War
Arnhem.
Museum in Arnhem.
In Arnhem.
Yeah.
And what that's going to be is your name and my name in it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Ja, it was long ago. Ja.
Ja.
Hier nog onze naam inschrijven dan eventjes? Was dat de bedoeling even?
Ja.
Your name and my name.
Forever.
Meeting all those friends I had stayed with and hadn't seen for 50 years made my heart beat overtime. Then after a few days' rest, I was taken by car and by public transportation to the furthest corners of the country to join in the liberation festivities together with 14,000 other war veterans.
We are proud that when this land was in the hands of brutal occupiers, the royal family was able to find refuge in Canada. Indeed, Her Royal Highness was born in our nation's capital. Your royal family was safe an ocean away. A symbol of hope and defiance was assured, and a friendship between our two nations was born. It is a friendship forged in the darkest hour of the 20th century, a time when evil dominated this continent, when hatred ruled, and when the fate of the world stood in the balance. It was a time of terror and evil, but also a time of great courage and sacrifice. Words and dates and maps can't measure pain. They can't measure sacrifice. They can't measure loss. But the legacy of those Canadians who fought here is not found in history books. It is found in the smile of a Dutch child who lives a free, decent life today because of what these brave men did half a century ago. In the gratitude of those who were here then, in the warmth with which we have been received in this country. Your legacy is nothing less than the Canada of today. What we have today, we have because of what you did half a century ago. We will continue to build a society that is worthy of your sacrifice. We will not let you down.
Back again in Canada, I stayed in close touch with the Dutch, especially with René, who let me spend 4 glorious weeks in the Netherlands. It will stick in my mind forever. He also kept me informed of the ongoing activities of Holland House regarding the 50th anniversary of the liberation, like the recent opening of a permanent peace tulip garden on the upper causeway right across from the Parliament building and the Dutch Carillon.
We're here this morning to confirm our friendship between the Netherlands and Canada in a tangible way through the planting of tulip bulbs and the unveiling of a plaque, and dedicate this garden area as a peace tulip garden. I am very pleased to welcome particularly our out-of-town guests who might be here, and in particular, Mr. K.H. Berkman, who is the Consul General of the Netherlands.
We, Dutch, owe you Canadians a lot. We are aware of that. And I think these feelings of friendship were broadly demonstrated during the celebrations in May in Holland, demonstrating the very cordial reception the Canadian veterans got over there. It was a get-together of Dutch and Canadians that neither will forget. But of course also in Canada, we had and have our commemorative gatherings, one of those being held here today. It's now more than ever that we must learn from the lessons of the past. Events as today's commemoration make us realize over and over again that it is our and our children's duty never to forget, and always to be prepared to defend and protect what 50 years ago young Canadians stood for. That's the responsibility we face today, and that message is reflected in our gathering today. Thank you very much.
The tulip is such a significant and beautiful flower, and particularly in this peace tulip garden, their growth is reminiscent of the growth of our two countries and the friendship between our people. On behalf of the city of Victoria, may we have an everlasting future. Thank you.
May this peace tulip garden with the commemorative flag serve as an ongoing remembrance and as a permanent monument, symbolizing a lasting source of consideration and an appeal for vigilance. Thank you very much.
I don't know what else we can do to compliment the Dutch people. They are a great people, and they have made our stay an excellent and memorable place. And this, my thanks will cover many Canadians, I'm sure. Most Canadians that were there were extremely proud to be recognized as to what they were: Canadians, liberators, and people that love the Dutch people. Of all the incredible thoughts and emotions I went through while reliving my wartime memories, there was one thing in particular that will leave me with a very unsettled feeling. Whomever I met in the Netherlands, from young to old, even in the middle of happy chats and celebrations, I always noticed an underlying fear of another big war.
At night my mind's scared of war, and here there's nothing to worry for. To go and play, have fun, no fear. The fighting is still far from here. I'm wondering, is what they fight for good or bad? What makes them all so raging mad? Can't they talk things this insanity? Or is it the end of humanity? When I tell Mom I'm scared of war, and here there's nothing to worry for, to go and play, have fun, no fear. The fighting is still far from here. I'm still wondering, what's the use of hand grenades, mortar shelling and air raids? Will all homes go up in fire? Everyone behind barbed wire. Mom, was there ever peace? If so, it must have been very long ago. When I tell Mom I'm scared of war, and here there's nothing to worry for, to go and play, have fun, no fear. The fighting is still far from here. I keep wondering, what does ethnic cleansing mean? Will it scrub safe havens clean? Are land and power worth that much to lose all sense and human touch? Mom, would life feel right without something to be scared about? When Mom says that she's scared of war, and fears there's much to worry for, but we're to blame for this big mess, divided nations. God bless, I stop wondering.
Over the next 50 years, we hope, new generations will become conscious of the uselessness of war and the value of freedom through symbols of friendship. The meaning of the individual wartime sacrifice of all Canadians rests with our collective national consciousness. Only through knowledge of the realities can we work more diligently to prevent wars from happening again. Maybe the words of warning written at the main gate of the concentration camp Vught in the Netherlands describe it in the best possible way. Numerous systems in the entire world, be they political, religious, or purely power-hungry, be they in the past, the present, or perhaps in the future, prefer the superiority of special groups, certain races, or dictators to independently thinking people and freedom-loving fellow citizens. The opponent of such a system will only encounter the means of terror, the terror of eavesdropping, harassing, intimidation, imprisonment, torture, murder, and ethnic cleansing. The systems are still there, their means are still there, just the names and the words keep changing. We must forgive, but not forget, and never falsify. If we forget or falsify, we'll betray the more than 1.5 million Canadian men and women who served in 2 world wars, of which more than 100,000 sacrificed their lives and more than 200,000 were wounded. Then all their painful suffering and the loss of their lives will be meaningless. They battled, were wounded, and died for us. They fought for their homes, families, and friends, for many values and traditions they cherished, and for a peaceful future they believed in. They died for Canada. Freedom cannot be bought, yet in many parts of the world, freedom is taken for granted. By celebrating the 50th anniversary of the liberation, and by honoring the war veterans, The importance of freedom, liberty, and friendship is stressed once more.
So why do this documentary? Like, why was this important to you to do something like this?
Well, now it is 70 years ago. There are other memories popping up again. On top of that, we are very close now to the time that practically nobody will memorize anything anymore. So even the younger ones, sooner or later, there are many of them in the 60s now, 70s, 80s, 90s, and like the war veterans, there are very, very few. Well, for history's sake, yeah, to keep it alive, because many people tend to forget very quickly. And we are still surrounded by wars and fights all over the world. It will never stop. It will never, ever stop.
What was it about?
There was something fascinating about the man. The man had this personality that talking in things, not so much about we, the Canadians, did it, but keeping it neutral. And I really liked that part. And also the incredible sense of humor. I said, well, I need a person who has some dry humor we can laugh about and travel with. So, yeah, he wanted to literally set the people free, liberate them, set them free, and go back to a life they had before, when they were happy. And I couldn't have chosen a better person.